Welcome, everybody, to another Patch Notes Breakdown. It's me, it's Blaze McBain. We're back for another one, and this one is a big patch. It is the 10.3 update, Season of Hope patch, and we're going to break this down to try to be as elaborate but also as quick as possible because there is like 150 changes just between gods and items. So we're going to go through each of these things. We're going to talk about them, kind of mean, what's that going to mean for the meta? What's that going to mean for changes with the map? Some of which I think are going to be, overall, everything's going to be super impactful that what we've seen. But let's hop into it, see what we got going on. First of all, we see there's a new Aphrodite skin. So let's take a look at the skins first. Always nice to take a look and see what we're going to be getting. We have the leading Lady Aphrodite, a tier 5 skin. This is part of the Unlimited Hope Reborn, along with Annihilator Manticorus, or Marticorus, Business Dog Anubis, in Finrar XD Fenrir. I've heard this one specifically. The voice lines on it are quite annoying, but I have not heard it myself. I did not play PTS. There's also the Elven Enchanter Morgan Le Fay, Void Sworn Surtur, and then we have Chiromech Ymir. Shout out to Nuki Donzenburo. I have seen what this looks like in game from a little video on Twitter. This skin looks sick. I'm a Donzenburo fan, and it's getting buffed. So we're excited about that. Witch Seeker Amaterasu is part of the calendar event. I always love me Amaterasu. I have a feeling I'm going to be playing her in the next patch a little bit, just to be completely honest with y'all. And then we see our Battle Pass skins. We're going to see a little bit of difference here as there's going to be more skins in the Battle Pass because there are some changes coming with the Battle Pass we'll talk about momentarily. But we have Lich Lord Amuzenkob, Lich Reborn Amuzenkob as a recolor, along with Arcane Wizard Zeus. And then we have Arcane Charmer Zeus, again, recolors here. Then we have Witch of the Mire Nox and Witch of the Woods Nox, getting our recolors of these new skins. And finally topping it off here with the Life Bringer King Arthur. So basically, for each skin, we're going to be getting a recolor. So we're going to get 2, 4, 6, 7 skins. Obviously, we're used to getting 4, one of them being a recolor of a previous skin. I like this idea. This is kind of what we've seen with Paladins. So I'm a fan of it. I like getting a new skin, but also kind of sometimes getting a recolor with it. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of an extra charge gym-wise to the Battle Pass. But let's talk about that right here, right now. Basically, the Battle Pass is going to go from 60 levels to 90, and Battle Passes will now last 11 to 14 weeks. Along with this, there is not a prestigious pass. The Battle Passes are just bigger across the board. These levels are still purchasable. You still have your Battle Pass quests, but the weekly quests have to be completed within the week. They will not just hang around for the whole entire Battle Pass like we're used to. This is obviously allowing more skins in the paid track only, so we're going to get those 3 alternate recolors that we saw above, but that's going to be going forward with the new Battle Pass system, along with 2 additional cosmetics. This raises the price from the 600 gem cost to now 800 gems, but if you do the premium, that was 1,200 before, it's 1,400 now, you are going to get 200 more earnable gems in the paid Battle Pass, so you are going to be able to recoup some of those and basically recoup that cost difference there. There's a whole list of the items between jump stamps, skins, announcer packs, titles, frames, the whole 9. You can go check that out if you want to. I'm not going to get into all that. There's also a community calendar event. I need to shout out something that's on this calendar event. There is an Wheelish avatar that I'm super, super excited about. It is drawn by Dapio Art. Shout out to all the artists, but Dapio Art has done my emotes for my channel. It is the avatar I have for Twitch and Discord, and probably soon to be YouTube as well. Just shout outs to them. I'm really excited to see their art getting recognized, but with a brand new Witch Seeker Amaterasu skin for free. So you can do that in this community celebration event. Here's the Wheelish avatar. I will be rocking that in support of Dapio, and I'm just really, really excited. So we have the Hope Reborn event. This is where we get the leading Lady Aphrodite and all those skins we saw above. So it's going to be a purchasable event like we're used to. Nothing considerably crazy there. We also, some quality of life things. Matikaros got an additional update on artistic features with a focus on textures. If you've seen Matikaros, you kind of notice that compared to other new gods and just gods in general, looks a little bit dated. So they're fixing that. There's some accommodations updates as well, and along with split ranked rewards. So 15 wins will now be a godlike chest. 50 wins will now be the 100 gems. So it's going to double the amount from the previous. You actually have to win way more games, but hey, we take that. There is a major HUD update. And this actually affects console because console wasn't able to move their their UI around like we were on PC. So they're not going to be able to move their UI around. But with this, there's just an overall better UI system in place, which is something they've been working on for quite a while. So I'm excited to see this. Basically, it's a full rework. And this includes like all screen UI elements, the item shop, scoreboard, top stats, death recap, ability summary, and HUD editor. These were their primary goals: is to provide a more sleek and modern visual design to Smite's gameplay HUD. Focus on in-game experiences first. HUD update has taken priority over any out-of-game client UI updates. They provide a multitude of quality of life updates to apply all platforms across you can play Smite. Significantly change the HUD for console platforms to better experience lessons learned from the PC client. And then optimize the HUD for PC platform by focusing on quality of life and art updates. So many of these new features are things like improved cooldown visuals, a new kill feed element, chat improvements, change the layout for console players. There's kill streak tracking now, kill bounty tracking, Gold Fury and Fire Giant kill tracking. So all these things that we really want to see, these are all coming to the UI. I'm not going to go over every element here. Just know you're going to load in the game on Tuesday after the update, and the UI is going to look much different, but it's also going to be much more detailed. And I would expect you to be kind of, if you play League of Legends, you notice some of those features that you kind of wanted from that game in Smite. We're now getting those. So HUD skins, I will touch on this because I'm a big HUD skin stan. Equipped HUD skins will temporarily display default HUD art instead of the skinned art. Existing HUD skins will be updated in the future to display the new HUD. These will be described in update notes as they become available. This also means new HUD skins will be possible. If you're a HUD skin stan like I am, you've been like, man, I really want HUD skins. And the big thing is they're always they're like, hey, we're done with HUD skins until we update the UI. We want the HUD to be universal across all platforms. And now we've got it. So we should see HUD skins in the future. And I'm super excited about that. There's some localization fixes and general gameplay fixes, along with, some fun things like Surtur fixed an issue where he could walk through enemy conquest base doors. There's some bug fixes here. Take a look at those. Obviously, there's a ton. I'm not going to go through those because I didn't see any that were like super crazy impactful that we need to worry too much about. Just know like they're fixing some small things here and there. But now we have some changes, and this is to all game modes. So keep an eye on this. And this should help a variety of situations. Year X, as I like to call it, they call it Year 10, I call it Year X, has increased the amount of kills in the average match, especially in Conquest. Kills can be quite valuable, so we're adjusting their scaling factors that make them more impactful when a fed player is killed. We're also adding an additional shutdown bonus that benefits the whole team more. Taking down the opponent with a big kill streak will now have a reward that matches the challenge. Along with this, there's some scaling things to kind of talk about. So player kill XP reward changes. They decrease the amount of XP for killing low-level players. So if you're 4 levels up, you're no longer going to get XP off those kills. Obviously, this might impact support quite a bit, where, maybe like it makes it where like, do you focus the support and get them out even, or what happens there? There is going to be some changes there. There's a penalty modifier increase from 0.1 to 0.2, so killing players more than 4 levels below you will no longer grant XP. They increased the XP for killing higher level players. So it's basically like a 12% increase on 1 level higher, 2 level higher is 20% increase, 7 levels or higher, 40% increase. So a drastic change there. Shutdown bonuses grants 200 XP and 50 gold. And all 4 teammates receive assist rewards even if they're out of range or dead. So this is going to be universal. That's going to feel pretty good. Slash got extra setup time. Arena has the Roman art style now. Assault rerolls are now either 1 gem or 50 favor. They added to the tier 3 healers list ESET Cthulhu Artio, and there's a ranked reset. Yay. Conquest is getting an art environment change for Season of Hope. Basically, the dust has settled from Surtur's Ascension, and now the map has undergone multiple art updates to feature a new glowing plant life, pools of water, and entirely new skybox. It's going to be more vibrant. And this updates will also include spectator view, alternate art set for this map, and adjust the lower various environment pieces that can block spectator camera. Let's go! As someone that casts a good bit, I'm super excited about that. Jungle path layout Multiple adjustments have been made to Jungle Pass, so we're going to see some new pathing, with like they talked about at the beginning of the season. The rocks around back harpy camps and all 4 map quadrants have been changed to allow a quicker pathing between camps and lanes. This also results in a more open space for team fights directly north or south of the Fire Giant and Gold Fury pits. Cyclops Thieves Stash has gotten some changes here. They said this new mechanic in the Cyclops Thieves, they're a larger version of Cyclops Road from Season 1, and now they are their own dedicated camp. This camp has a new type of dynamic gold reward that scales depending on how ahead or behind your team is compared to your opponents. This unique reward makes the camp especially valuable. So players should prioritize in highly when clearing, and it will also likely be targeted for invades. I mean, if I want to keep people behind, I'm 100% targeting this. So back harpies on the Gold Fury side of the map have been replaced with the Cyclops camp, which spawns extra treasure chests for each team that is behind and overall. So 1 bonus chest spawns for every 1,000 gold your team is behind, up to a maximum of 5 chests. Destroying a chest awards 10 team gold plus 1.6% of your team's gold deficit, up to a maximum of 500 team gold. Invading, destroying an enemy's chest awards nothing. It just keeps them from getting the gold. Team gold awarded by a bonus chest is distributed unevenly across all teammates. 40% goes to the teammate with the least amount of gold, 30% goes to the teammate with the second least amount of gold, and 30% is split among the other 3. And the Cyclops NPC now have the same stats and rewards as back harpies. They spawn every 2 minutes. This is kind of help with snowballing. Make sure you have a way to fight back into the game. You're going to see a lot of these changes we talk about being that way. Back harpies, they also decrease the timers from 4 minutes to 2 minutes. I'm not, like, obviously there's a decrease in XP and gold from that change. Yay. Fire Giant is getting an adjusted ring of radius to closely match the Fire Giant's actual leash radius. The Fire Giant buff will now only last 3 minutes instead of 4. And Fire Giants might decrease healing per second from 0.8% to 0.6%, increase magical power and physical power granted, 5 to magical, 10 to physical. Fire Giants enhanced, you're going to get 110 magical power and 70 physical power now. Gold Fury got a huge change, and people are going to die to this. I 100% believe that. Will now attack and damage close range enemies that attempt to body block it. Increased movement speed from 325 to 400. Gold Fury got the zoomies. Now, it is going to run people down, so watch out for that. Pyromancer will now attack and damage close range enemies that attempt to body block it. And then Bastion's got increased health by 300, so instead of 1,200, they're now 1,500. Tier 1 Tower. If you've heard me on the Baji podcast, Battlegrounds of the Gods, the Smite podcast, you've heard it on my podcast, Up Your Experience. You've heard me talk about Tier 1 towers and how they don't do any damage. They actually made some changes here that they increased the physical power from 215 to 235, and they decreased the physical damage scaling versus minions from 140% to 130%. In other words, if you're a god, you are going to take more damage to Tier 1 tower. Please and thank you. I'm happy for that change. Tier 2 tower received the same scaling for minions. Roaming back harpies disabled hit reactions on these minions. 2 roaming harpies spawn halfway through the respawn timer back harpies. Yay. There's new roaming mid harpies. It's the same thing as what we already have. Purple buff camp, they decreased the magical basic attack damage from 15 to 10. This is to help deal with the mage ADC issue, where if you don't have purple and you're a hunter fighting into a mage ADC, you're going to have a rough time, so yay for that. Silver buff Scorpion, they increased the base XP and gold. Blue buff, now you have increased XP and gold rewards on those, and same thing with the minis. Totem buff reward, capturing the totem once again grants its reward buff to all gods on the team. Totem damage or increased damage output buff from 10% to 15%, increase the area of damage buff area from 40 to 45. That's going to be pretty huge. But now we get to the juicy part of this update. And this is where this video could take a long time to go through for a patch notes breakdown. So we're going to read through this, and then I'm going to tell you all the way we're going to shorten this up. How we're going to give Smite patch notes breakdown some love. Because I don't want to waste y'all's time. Healing update. The goals. Healing is a powerful effect in Smite, so they want to do a more in-depth and detail-driven approach to adjust the balance of healing in Smite. With all changes combined, we expect to see a lower healing numbers overall, but more player control over healing. It'll be less likely to heal by huge amounts, but also more rare to have healing reduced to 0. Healing gods and items will now have more utility and additional effects instead of relying entirely on healing. In other words, we are going to change healing to be more utility based and not just be like burst heal, go burr, get out of combat, heal, heal, heal. So the plan is the action plan, healing abilities will no longer have power scaling. It's going to be strictly off of leveling. Aphrodite and Hell will receive level-based scaling on their healing. Other gods will have no scaling or ranking up ability on or buying healing increase items increases their healing. Gods and items across the game will receive nerfs to their healing abilities. Lifesteal stats, similar effects by roughly 30%. The scaling changes are included in this calculation. Most gods and items will receive buffs to their non-healing abilities and stats in order to compensate for these nerfs. Gods are more reliant on healing will receive more intense buffs and changes to their non-healing effects. Believe me, there's a lot of gods with this. There are going to be some new and reworked items that will allow player to increase their healing through builds. Others will add more unique item effects and trigger successful heals. Healing reduction on god abilities and items will be reduced by a small amount to make adjustments for this change, and see the gods and item changes section for specific numbers on these. The system changes. Obviously, the brawling system has been removed from the game. Players will no longer have 40% decreased healing that they recently engaged in god versus god combat, so that is gone. Healing reduction will now be capped at 80% reduction on the afflicted target, so you can't just stack a ton of anti-heal and get rid of it. Gods like Serket, Odin, Osiris will be the only exception and have unique text to describe their abilities preventing healing entirely. The physical lifesteal cap has been decreased from 100% to 50%. The magical lifesteal cap has been decreased from 65 to 40. Shield reduction items, thank you everything. I have been asking for this for years and talking about it on podcast, on the stream, and everywhere else. Will be introduced in this update and will apply debuffs to enemies that reduce the amount of shield HP of any shields applied to them, and debuff is active. Shield reduction cap of 80% reduction of future shields applied on the afflicted target. So yay, all good stuff. So here's the deal. There is going to be the healing items and the healing gods, and there's a lot of them, are all going to have reduced healing. So to keep this as easy as possible to understand, everything got reduced healing, and then some things got other changes. So instead of going through and be like, hey, we reduced healing, you have to hear me say that 50,000 times. We're not going to do that. Just know everything got reduced healing. Everything I'm about to mention has reduced healing. All right, that's the only, and we're going to go through the new items, what they have, and what was buffed on the items that have reduced healing. So you already know everything I'm about to mention has been nerfed healing-wise. And now you're going to know what the buffs are. So first and foremost, you got a Tier 1 Restoring Wand. This gives you 15 magical power, 50 health, 50 mana for 650 gold. Tier 2 Rod of Healing is now 1350 gold, 55 magical power, 75 health, 75 mana. Rod of Asipicus has been reworked. It now has 90 magical power, 250 health, 250 mana. Its passive is healing dealt is increased by 30%. Its aura is allied gods within 30 units have 10% CDR. Then you have Rejuvenating Heart, a new staff for 2450 gold. It has 70 magical power, 300 health, 300 mana. Its passive is successfully hitting enemy gods with basic attacks and abilities, provides a stack of 6% healing dealt that is consumed by the next ability heal used, max 8 stacks, but you only gain 1 stack per god per ability hit. I don't know who's building this specifically. I think this is an interesting passive, but there's a lot of wording here that I'm going to have to go through and test, because this sounds like it could be interesting, but I think it might be kind of niche. We have Last Grafts, 2400 gold, 100 magical power, 200 health, 200 mana, 15 magical pin. Its passive is after healing an ally with an ability, you gain 10 magical power per 10% of your missing health for 6 seconds. This effect can only occur every 10 seconds. This could be cracked. But again, is it super niche? I don't know, but I do like the idea of it. Our physical healing tree, we have Tier 1 Blessed Scepter. This is 700 gold, 10 physical power, 50 health, 5 MP5. The Tier 2 is 1300 gold for 20 physical power, 100 health, 10 MP5. And we have reworked Codicus Club. 2400 gold, 30 physical power, 250 health, 20 MP5, 10% CDR. Its passive is healing dealt is increased by 30%. Its aura is allied gods within 70 units have 10% CCR and 4% movement speed, which is pretty cracked, honestly. I think you have that on like Horus. That's going to feel pretty good. And Horus got buffed. Fun facts of the day. Vital Amplifier, 2,450 gold, 40 physical power, 200 health, 15 MP5, and 20% attack speed. After healing yourself or an allied god with an ability, you gain 10% attack speed, 5% basic attack damage for 6 seconds, stacking 3 times. I think that might be fun on Amaterasu. Just saying. Sekhmet Scepter, 2,500 gold, 40 physical power, 200 health, 15 MP5, 10% CDR. After healing yourself or an allied god with an ability, for the next 6 seconds, each time you damage an enemy god with your non-ultimate abilities, cooldowns are reduced by 0.5 seconds. This can only occur once per second for 12 seconds. It's a really strange passive. It takes some reading, but you could reduce by 6 seconds then. Weird. I don't know. I think it'd be good. That's the thing, is like some of these with the healing items, I think it's going to take like actually build testing and seeing how they're going to feel. Because like reading about them, like they sound interesting, but like how often are they going to be used? Like who is it going to be good on? I think is going to be interesting, because going forward, I think you're really going to have to think about where you want your lifesteal or healing items or aura items at. There's a new anti-shield oriented items. You have basically this one is called Erosion. It's 2,350 gold, 30 physical procs, 30 magical procs, 350 health. Every time an enemy within 30 units gains a shield, you gain 15% movement speed for 4 seconds. This effect can only occur once every 10 seconds. Or any shield applied with on enemy gods within 30 units will be reduced by 30%. 30 units is pretty small, but if you're a tank in the middle of a team fight and they pop shell, boom, 30% of it's gone, and you get movement speed. I mean, I think that's super sick. I expect to see a good bit of this item. Gem of Isolation, rework the passive. Enemies hits by your damage abilities will move 30% slower and will have shields applied on them, reduced by 50% for 2.5 seconds. Reworked Envenom Deathbringer. Hey, ADCs, we got our anti-heal back, baby. Critical hits on enemy gods are afflicted with poison for 3 seconds. The poison slows them by 10%, reduces their healing by 35%, and shields applied to them are reduced by 50%. They increase the duration, remove the damage reduction buff, adding healing reduction, adding shield reduction. So fun facts. Lifesteal items. These all got, again, healing nerfs. They decrease the lifesteal on everything. Claw Shard, Cloak of Meditation, Sundering Siphon. All got reduction, but Death's Toll, where it got its reduction, now gets extra physical power. Death's Embrace gets that extra, bump, but now its passive is hitting an enemy with base attack restores the health and mana 1.4% and 2%, but reduces non-active, non-ultimate cooldowns by 0.33 seconds. Basic attacks that deal damage in AoE restore less health on each enemy hit than the first and only count once for the cooldown reduction. This item is going to be super, super sick on like Artemis with Malicious Deathbringer or Auto Attack Warriors. I think Death's Embrace is going to be crazy. Death's Tempered is going to go burr too. The increased amounts of stacks gained from a kill or assist on a god from 5 to 10. Leather Cowl now has physical power bump, but also got increased attack speed. Hunter's Cowl got the same. It has, some increased attack speed by 5%. Leader's Cowl got increased attack speed as well and increased physical power by 20. Arrow got bonus gold, an extra gold from the passive, but Diamond Arrow, they increased the health by 50 and gave it 10% penetration. So my pin build users, this is going to feel really good, or my mage ADCs that build it. Ornate Arrow now has, instead of 5% critical strike, has 15% critical strike, and the basic attack damage went from 60 to 70. I think that item, you could literally buy that item in Deathbringer, and you're good on crit. You don't even have to buy anything else. That's kind of crazy. Bluestone Pendant, basically this has been used in dominating 3 different roles. It is going to be nerfed, so I think what it was is now apply a few nerfs to dominate across 3 roles. We'll also nerf an important reduction in proc damage, especially when build on junglers. We hope the conquest changes and other items will help warriors in various ways offset these nerfs. I thought somewhere they said this was going to be affected by, like, it won't work on objectives like Gold Fury, Pyro, and Fire Giant. Maybe I'm wrong. I heard that somewhere, but I'm not seeing it in the patch notes here. But basically, you got some damage nerfs on that in the current health nerfs, so they're just nerfing damage by 18 on the basic pendant. Brooch got a 20 damage fall off and a 3% drop off. Warrior's Axe, they decrease the health and mana restore, obviously. Sundering Axe, they increase the damage. They increase damage protection scaling from 1 to 1.5%. This item can no longer trigger its bonus damage off other item damage and will only trigger on ability damage. Bumba's Dagger, increased physical magical power, decreased health. Bumba's Spear, decreased health. Bumba's Hammer, physical power and magical power tweak upwards there. Mannequin Scepter gets increased power scaling by 2%. Mannequin's Mace, same little nerf as everywhere else. Eye of the Jungle gets increased physical magical power 5 and 10 respectively. Seer gets 15 physical power bump, 5 magical power bump, and increased protections by 5. Sentinel's Gift, they had to decrease the health on those. Same with Benevolence. And Protector's Mask, War Flag, and Vampiric Shroud. But Vampiric Shroud got increased physical power by 5, increased MP5 by 3, which is pretty good. Same thing is happening with Blood Soak and Sacrificial. Now, here's some of the items I think are kind of interesting. Your physical lifesteal items. Devourer's Gauntlet, increased physical power by 5, added 0.2 physical penetration per stack, which is going to be huge, and then they decreased everywhere else. Evolved Gauntlets have extra 5 power, and the physical penetration from 10 to 15. Bloodforge has attack speed on it now. So you have movement speed, attack speed. When you get a kill, you get a shield, and you have lifesteal. I mean, that has to be good. Soul Eater, they increased physical power by 5, and that's pretty much it. That's it. It's going to not be too great. And Aussie got increased physical power also by 5 when it got its decreases. The magical items, you have Telekines. Is this getting nerfed in general? Polynomicon, same thing. Spear of the Magus, they increased the passive from 7.5 to 9% on the target with an extra second, so going to 8 seconds. Pythagorean's Piece gets an extra 10 damage. Soul Gem gets added 100 gold to the cost. They increased the magical power by 10, reducing everything else on it. Bancrofts, they increased the mana by 50, but increased the passive floor from 25% to 40%. And then Typhon's Fang went down by 150 gold, so now 2650. They increased the power on it by 15, so it's now 85. And they increased the magical penetration by 20%. Typhon's Fang is cracked. I expect to see a lot of this item. Other general item changes. Teleport got 20 seconds added to its cooldown. Frostbound Hammer, they decreased the cost by 50 gold, increased its physical power by 5. And then it's only available on Assassins and Warriors. Runeforge Hammer, again, reduced it by 100. They decreased the cooldown of the passive effect by 5, so it's not only 15 seconds. Oni's Hunter's Garb, they increased the health by 50 and then decreased the damage mitigation per stack by 1%. So that's going to help with the mitigation builds that we've been seeing a lot of Warriors running. Hunters, Fail Not gets added 10% damage output reduction to the debuff mark on this item. Transcendence, which is not a hunter buff, they decreased the gold cost by 100. Demon Blade gets extra power and attack speed, 5 for each. Bladed Boomerang, they decreased the cost. That item is also not a hunter item. I'm not convinced. Griffin Wing, the best ADC item. I'm just kidding. I love this item, but no one builds it. They increased the physical power by 10, so it's now 55. Heroism, we're going to see you get the GP5 buff it should have had in the first place. I do want to say, I think Griffin Wing is slowly but surely becoming more viable. That item is just going to keep getting buffed until it's OP. And then Mage's Divine Rune, they decreased the power scaling by 10%. Thank God, because Purple Lightning go burr. Rahatahudi, they increased the power to 150 and increased the passive floor from 50 to 60%. Rahatahudi has to be an item that's getting picked up now. They did this on all versions of it. I mean, I just have to think Rahatahudi is being bought more than what it was before after that change. Doomorb, they removed the mana, added 10% magical pin, and increased the move speed from 4% to 6%. Doomorb, literally go burr. You can run it down and you get magical pin. Spirit of Desolation, they decreased the cost. So let's talk about Team Healer God Balance. Aphrodite, your Kiss, this ability deals 40 to 120 damage, scaling 25% of your magic power, but damage to gods. And Aphrodite shares 50% of her MP5 and 20% of her physical magical prots with her soulmate. Lovebirds, they decreased the heal, but this ability now provides a flat 0.25 seconds ability cooldown reduction per tick to self and allies. Undying Love, Using this ability provides self-ally jealousy effect for 5 seconds. Using this ability now provides 5 seconds of jealousy buff to Aphrodite and her soulmate, increasing their damage dealt by 8 to 20% scaling. I also don't know why I was wearing headphones this whole time, like I had sound going on. So we're just going to take those bad boys off. Hell, you have some stance attunements. New light stance passive. Hell now applies 8% power reduction to enemies in the aura radius instead of giving increased healing to allies. This effect scales as she becomes attuned to the stance. Decay, projectile now goes through walls. That is insanity. Paul is going to go ham with Hell, dude. He's already so good, and it's going to get so much better. Restoration, heal decrease, but the ability now damages and passes through minions. And this ability now provides 55 to 115 mana heal to self and allies on successful hit. Inspire, decreased self heal, but decreased ally heal. But then it has an ally minion heal now. And this ability provides 20% attack speed to self and allies in duration. And then stance switches, they decrease the cooldown from 2 seconds to 1 second. So Hell, with some massive changes along with Aphrodite, I think is really going to change their playstyle. And I actually think we might see them be more comp viable, not only at the pro level, but even in like amateur scene. Yamoja, they decrease the heal, but increase the shield health and increase the damage on Mending Waters. Sylvanas, the Wisps, now deal and heal damage to minions for the 25% of the amount. And this ability does not proc seed pods on hitting minions. Chang'e, they decrease the heal but then remove the healing reduction debuff on this ability from Moonflower Dance. But the new debuff applied from damaging abilities, Chang'e deals 5% increased damage to enemies, stacking 3 times. This debuff lasts 4 seconds. Ra, Solar Blessing, they increase the procs, increase the physical power, magical power, decrease the cooldown, and then decrease the mana cost. Really, that ability is already really good. So even if you weren't using it for the healing, using it for the power boost was always good, and the procs. So it's still going to be good. Ra's still going to be really good because guess what? Searing Pain, they decreased the magical power scaling from 15% to 110%. Why? Because they added a new damage component that deals true damage to 5% of the target's max health to enemy gods on Searing Pain. I've heard, I have not seen it with my own eyeballs, but I've heard about someone hitting a Raw snipe on PTS for over 1,800 damage, and that is wild. Raw is going to be scary. Guan Yu, obviously they had to decrease his healing, but now he gets a 1 second flat CDR effect that also affects allies got healed, so you give some CDR, which is really, really cool. And then Tallow Assault increased the max stacks from 3 to 4. Terra, Monolith, the ability now provides prots from 10 scaling to 30. And then Earthen Fury increased ally damage mitigation from 5 to 10%. I think Terra was already in a good place. I don't think this nerf of healing affects her that badly. I think she's actually going to get better. Horus, this is monstrous. You get increased protections per stack from 1.5 to 2.5. And then Protector's Surge, they reduced the cooldown from 16 seconds to a flat 10 seconds. A 6 second nerf. And they decreased the mana cost from 65 to 45. This man's going to be flying everywhere, dude. And I love Horus. This buff's kind of insane. Oleron, he's got decreased healing. Cupid now has a new thing on Share to Love. Cupid now gains a passive stack whenever he or an ally picks up a heart, and they decrease the cooldown by a second. I think that's really cool. It allows you some different play and allows his hearts to be used in a different way, which I think is good. Baron, this ability now applies slow for the buff duration instead of just slow cleanse, so consign spirits, that's what that does. E-sets, dispel magic, to decrease the cooldown from 16 to 14, and circle protection gives increased damage mitigation from 25 to 30%. I'm already tired of seeing this god in assault, and oh my god, I don't want to see more E-set, but she's going to be so good. RDO, they increased the Druid Power debuff on Entangling Vines and increased Bear Self buff for prots with Ferocious Roar. And then Heavy Charge got increased Bear Slow, and Shapeshift increased movement speed. So there's some things there. Obviously, decreased health across the board. Cthulhu increased the attack speed when Sandy Break is there. Attack speed slow from 10 to 30%. Now it's 20 to 30%. The Mire, they increased the base damage per shot. And then Transfuse, it says, note the reduced healing while Cthulhu is below 20%. Some non-team healer god balance. Achilles, They increased the prots on Gift for God and increased the physical power. This is a revert. And then a Muzenkob, his general increased HP per level from 77 to 82, increases basic attack damage per level from 2.2 to 2.5. Sorry, attack power per level. Hive, they removed the healing passive entirely, but they added now that AMC gains 20 to 40 HP 5 while in a Hive area, which is kind of insane. Alpwash, they decreased the maximum health restoration on Hollowed Ground. An Undead Surge has a decreased cooldown from 14 to 12 seconds. Amaterasu, they increased the Benevolence Aura move speed, which was 5 to 21%. It's now 9 to 21%. Anubis, Sorrow, they decreased the healing protect, but Plagueologus, he can now walk forward at 50% of his movement speed. So Plagueologus, he can just walk at you now. He doesn't have to get rooted in place. Kind of wild. Obviously, decreased damage per tick from 35 to 95 to 18 to 50, but this ability now does damage every 0.25 seconds instead of every 0.5 seconds, so it's going to be pretty equivalent. Alquang decreased the maximum health heal from 5% to 3%. I don't think that's what makes Alquang OP. How is this the only thing they nerf on Alquang? That is wild. This god, I think, has like a 70% pick ban rate in like matches in general, and this is absolutely dumb. Arachne, Venomous Bite, the debuff of this ability now applies 40% healing reduction for the duration, and Cocoon, targets successfully stunned by Cocoon also have their active cooldowns increased by 2% flat, anti-CDR. I think she might be the only god in the game with anti-CDR, which is crazy. They decreased the cooldown from 15 to 14 seconds. I actually really like this anti-CDR. We've seen it on one item that I cannot remember the name of right now, but it's the purple mask looking item in the Stone of Binding tree. What the heck is the name of it? I don't remember. But it has anti-CDR in it, and to see it on a god's kind of cool. Baba Yaga, Creeping Cabin, obviously changed there. Baba's Brew, they increased the cooldown by 2, and the mana cost got decreased from 60 to 80 just a flat 60. Bacchus, Belch of the Gods, decreased healing reduction 50 to 40%. Bakasura, his takedown, like his leap, deals a 40% healing reduction. His eat minion got reduced from 15 seconds to 8 seconds, nearly cut in half. Crazy. Bastet, Pounce increased damage from 18 to 300 to 90 to 315. Bologna, Shield Bash, they increased the damage from 80 to 240 to 90 to 250. They also increased the slow from 10 to 20% to literally 20% all ranks. Bologna got so much better overall, which is kind of crazy. I don't think she was bad in the first place. Camazotz, you have his decreased healing, decreased Essence Drinker buff from 6% physical life steal and increasing healing to 3%. It says, note, this is extra compared to the normal 30%. He had basically an extra a nerf to him. Screech, they increased the damage from 90 to 270 to 100 to 280 plus 85% of your physical power. And they increased the Echo buff as well to be 10 to 30 physical power, now 15 to 35. And they decreased the cooldown from 13 to 12. Vampire Bats now provides anti-heal effect. Devour, they decreased the cooldown to a flat 15 seconds. I think Camazotz, while getting the healing nerf, did just get better. Kerberos arguably got the biggest buff in the patch. Spirit of Death, they increased the healing reduction from 30 to 40, increased the healing stolen from 50 to 80. Paralyzing Spit increased the stun duration from 1 to 1.8 to now 1.4 to 1.8, and decreased the cooldown to 13 seconds. And then Soul Expulsion, the heal per minion was 15 to 55, plus 20% of your magic scaling, now it's 12 to 40. Healing per god was 40 to 140, plus 25% of your magic power, it's now 20 to 100. But they decreased the soul health as well, it's now 50 to 150. Kerninos, since they had to decrease his anti-heal, he now has increased Summer Heat physical power to 8%, Autumn Decay debuff to 10 seconds, Winter Chill Slow is 1.4 seconds, and increased Winter Slow from 7 to 15% to 9 to 15%. So this adjusting his other stances there. Chalk gets increased attack speed reduction in Rain Dance. In Storm Call, they get increased damage. It was 250 to 450. It's now 300 to 500. Chiron gets increased physical magical power 5 to 10, 10 to 15 on Herbal Medicine. Masterful Shot, they decreased the cooldown to 15 seconds. Kronos nerfed. Kukulin nerfed. Don's and Burrow, my man. They increased the base damage of Fool's Gold from 80 to 265 to 95 to 275, and this affects multiple hits. Along with that, Luring Spirits had to get the decreased healing, but Tanuki Trickery, they increased the field movement speed from 10 to 20% to 20% at all ranks. And then they increased the leave movement speed from 20 to 40% to 30 to 40%. So just straight up buff that man. Erlang got increased damage reduction per stack from 3 to 7%, now 5 to 7% in spot weakness. In 9 turns blessing, they increased the damage mitigation from 10 to 20% to now just 25 flat damage mitigation, and increased the top duration from 1.2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. That's pretty massive. Fafnir also gets a crazy buff. Endless Greed increased the bonus prots from 20 to 35. And then Coerce now has increased attack speed from 10 to 30% to 20 to 30%. So, I mean, just nice buffs there on Fafnir. Freya nerfed, Finra nerfed, Gilgamesh. Increased basic attack power from 34 to 39. Then Heroes Advance, allies who enter the beacon will gain bonus lifesteal boosted by 15% of Gilgamesh's highest protection, and allies will be granted 58.75% lifesteal if Gilgamesh has 325 of either type of protection. So really just changing the way Heroes Advance works, I think, is really interesting to brace off his prots. Winds of Samash, they decreased the cooldown by 10 seconds, so it's now 100. Hades, thank God they nerfed that man. They increased the cooldown of Pillar of Agony. Increased cooldown reduction per hit from 0.2 seconds to 0.4 seconds. That god can kick rocks. Hercules got buffed. No one knows why. Driving Strike, they reduced the cooldown to 11 seconds. They decreased the mana cost. Earthbreaker decreased the cooldown to 11 seconds, decreased the mana cost. Mitigating Wounds got hit because of the healing change, but like, quit puffing this god. All right, he's really good in the early game. He's pretty good in the mid game, and he's not good late. But I'm really getting concerned that Hercules is going to continue to get buffed like this, and he's just going to be good the whole entire game like he was like 4 seasons ago, and he never got touched for like multiple seasons. Kali, increased Mark of Death, decreases there. Nimble Strike, they increased the damage to 85 to 285. Lash, they decreased the physical lifesteal, but Incense, they increased the stun from 1 to 1.2 seconds while decreasing the cooldown of the ability to 15 seconds. And they increased the damage of destruction from 20 to 45. Now it's every 0.5 seconds to 30 to 50 at 8% of your physical power. Martika Ross, they decreased the lifesteal and physical lifesteal of his passive. Thank God. Poison Barb, they decreased the healing reduction as well. Martika Ross, I'm actually surprised didn't see more nerfs, but I think with this healing change, it makes sense. Medusa decreased the healing reduction. Morgan Le Fay, Sigil Mastery got reduced by 1. They decreased the cooldowns on Dragonflight from 14 to 12 seconds on the scaling there. And Consuming Power gets decreased missing health heal. Now it's 4.5 to 6.5%. Mulan, Cross Strike got decreased cooldown was 16 to 12. Now 14 to 12. Spear Thrust, they increased the slow from 20 to 25%. Neja increased the attack speed of Flaming Spear, now 25 to 55%, and increased the critical strike chance from 15 to 20%. Neath gets increased base HP from 609 to 640. They increased the root on Spirit Arrow. It's now 1.6 to 2 second scaling. Unravel, they decreased the healing, decreased the weave heal, but the backflip slow is now 30% instead of the old 25. Nemesis, Slice and Dice has increased damage across the board. It's now 50 to 170 scaling. Retribution, they decreased the healing, but they also decreased the cooldown from 16 to 14. Nike, Rend increased protection shred from 4 to 20, is now 8 to 24. Rend is already an insane ability. This is crazy. Barrier Formation, they increased the cooldown, decreased the cooldown. It's 13 seconds at all ranks. And Sentinel Zeus, they increased the base damage from 100 to 360 to 200 to 400 scaling. Nike just got straight up buffed, and I'm kind of excited. Like, I love seeing Nike get played because I think she's interesting. I think she might end up being more jungle, though, which I don't know how I feel about that. Odin, they decreased the cooldown of Raven Shout. It's now 14 to 12 second scaling. Pele, they increased the power on Everlasting Flame for 5 plus 1 per level to now 10 plus 1.5 per level, which will feel pretty good. Persephone got a decreased heal but decreased cooldown on Harvest. And Grasp of Death, they increased the damage scaling from 75 to 85%. Radtasker, all of his acorns got touched. They increased physical power on them. And then Acorn Blast, they increased the damage per Acorn from 50 to 130 to now 70 to 170, and they increased the damage reduction from multiple Acorns from 25% to 40%. They also decreased the cooldown to 12 seconds flat. Ravana Overhead Kick, they decreased the cooldown from 18 to 14 second scaling to 16 to 14. And then 10 Hand Shadow Fist, they increased the healing from 10 to 70, which now is 6 to 50. Set, they increased the damage reduction by 5% for Sandstorm. Kingslayer increased movement speed 25%, 30%. I love Set. Any buffs to him would be great. Unfortunately, he is going to get affected by this healing nerf, but I think he might end up being better because of it. Shiva, Samsara, they increased the Bliss base HP5 MP5 buff aura from 4 to 8. They increased the Destruction base MP5 HP5 MP5 debuff aura from 2 to 4. Damaro's Tempo, they decreased the cooldown to 13 seconds. And then Tandava, they increased the Mana Restore by 5%. And the effects Amplify Healing and Amplify Boost Healing. Sobek increased damage on Tail Whip. They decreased the cooldown to 13 seconds. Sickening Strike, they decreased the healing and healing reduction. Soul has Radiance. It's 5% per tick to 3.6% per tick. Sung Wukong gets increased attack speed from Master's Will at 35% now. 72 transformations. Scales from 16 to 14 seconds on decreased cooldown. Somersault Cloud decreases healing from 5% per second to 5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Surtur, decreased healing. Thanatos, here's the thing. Thanatos got majorly hit by this nerf. Basically, they decreased the health cost from abilities from 5% to 4%. His ulti is 10% to 8%. Harvesters of Soul, they decreased the HP restore off of gods and minions to 15 and 7% respectively. Death Scythe has a 12-second cooldown now, but they decreased the healing from 75% to 50%. Soul Reap decreased the cooldown to 14 seconds. Hovering Death, they increased the base damage, which was 90 to 230. Now it's 110 to 250 scaling, but they increased the stun duration from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. Again, Thanatos, I think, got better on the back end of this. It's just going to take some time getting used to the changes there. Tiamat, they Death Begets Life. They decreased the large heal and small heal on those. Tsukiyomi increased the swing damage on Kusuragama to 35 to 135 scaling of plus 40% of your physical power. This happens twice. And then Shingetsu Mangetsu, they decrease the heal. Tyr gets decreased cooldown on stance switch to 10 seconds. And then Power Cleave, obviously decreased healing. Uller gets exposed weakness, decreased cooldown to 14 seconds. Hail of Arrows, decreased cooldown to 14 seconds. Wheeled Axes / Wheel Bow, they decrease the physical lifesteal. I don't think Uller is going to be played any more than what he was already because Bluestone got nerfed. It doesn't matter that Trans got buffed. Vamana, again, one of the other gods that got a lot of changes. They increased the base attack speed from 0.9 to 1. Sleeping Giant increased the physical proc conversion from 20% to 25% and increased the speed conversion from 10% to 15%. And then Colossal Fury, they increased the protections gain from 15 to 35 scaling to 25 to 45 scaling. And they increased the power from 40 to 100 to 60 to 100 scaling. So that's pretty interesting there. I'm not sure if that's going to make Vamana better. I think he's been played decent amount and done pretty well. I think these changes might just keep him there and help him continue to do well. Zhongqi, Exorcism, they had to decrease the heal. Book of Demons, they decreased the cooldown by 2 seconds and increased the stun duration from 0.6 to a flat 1 second, 2 times for marked targets. So you can get up to 2 second stun there. And that's all the changes for the 10.3 patch. Honestly, there is a lot, I think, to end this and kind of put it in a way where you might understand a little bit better what's going on in my thoughts. I think Warriors for solo got worse because you're nerfing the mitigation build and you're nerfing the healing across the board. I think mages got better. I think assassins got better. I think hunters got better. And we'll have to see about supports. I think supports, it just really depends. I think they're going to have to shift the way they play. But I think support might be in a good spot. But that's kind of my thought processes reading through the patch. We'll have to see how it goes on March 28th when the patch goes live. I'll be playing that night. We'll be slamming some queues, so come over to the stream, twitch.tv/BlazeMcBain. You can find a link below in the link tree. You can also go check out the Battle Gods, oh my god, Botg, Battleground of the Gods, a Smite podcast. I'm leaving that in there. I'm not editing it out. You can go check that out. We had Jada Faye on this past weekend. I was not there because I was going to pick up the boys. You can also go check out Up Your Experience podcast, where we talk about games, gaming news, what we're playing, all sorts of fun stuff, hosted by myself and my co-host Bats and whoever else we end up having on. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I hope this was helpful. If you ever have questions or suggestions, put them in the comments below. Let me know, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye.